Hey, good to see you too. Thank you, Ben. Kim O'Kelly, I appreciate all you guys being on here, actually. And so we'll get this thing kicked off here. And gosh, it's so good to see all of you. We had a great Christmas party. For those of you who weren't there, didn't we enjoy that, you guys? Yeah.
That was good.
Not all at once. Everybody, hold your breath.
Yes. Yes.
Good. Lanae's got some voice stuff going on, so we won't bug you too much, Lanae. But gosh, it's so good to see you guys. I'm gonna say a couple of things here, and then we're gonna get kicked off. As you guys saw, Ben's recording this, so we send this out to everybody because a lot of people can't make it, and it's very.
I just hope Jim's comment to you, Keith, made the recording.
No, it didn't.
No, we missed it. We could reenact it though. I was thinking the same thing.
Between you and Ben, you guys are going to be the demise of me. I'll tell you what. No, Ben's watching my back. He's not going to say it, but he's watching my back. He didn't record it till that. But thanks, Arnie, for bringing that up. Yeah.
You're welcome. I got your back too, Keith.
Yeah, I know you do. So we are recording it. I want to ask everybody if we can, because our group is growing and we're getting a bigger group, and which is awesome, by the way. It's incredible. We love it. We love seeing everybody. We feel like we're doing a pretty decent job of getting things out there for different professionals, different people, different speakers and whatnot. We're so glad that a lot of you brought your caregiver partner today, and a lot of this is going to be about caregivers today, which we'll be introducing Molly here in just a second. But I would like to ask everybody, if you can remember, please raise your hands if you got something to say, and let me choose you, please. It just keeps things going, and I like to keep it to 3 to 5 minutes if we can. That way everybody gets a chance to talk, because it's very important that we all get our chance to say what's on our mind, or speak out on some things that are important to us. And I want to make sure everybody gets their time. So if we can, I'd appreciate that. I hope everybody had a great Christmas season. And I know everybody calls it holiday, but I still call it Christmas. That's the way it is.
Good for you, Keith.
Yeah. And I hope everybody enjoyed it, had a great new year. I'll tell you guys, I wasn't going to do this, but I'll tell you a quick thing. I have twins in the hospital that my husband and his wife are having right now. And it's been quite a process. They're little bitty things. But anyway, if anybody has any, prayers or thoughts about it, we'd love it. They're going to be all right. Everything's going to work out. But I just wanted to let everybody know. So I get a little.
Keith, I don't want to interrupt, but you said your husband, but it was your son.
Yeah.
Did I say that?
Yes. Yeah, I was thinking I might be on the wrong call.
Hey, Josh, keep that to yourself, buddy. Here's the other thing. We
That
like
could
to
be a
have
bait,
fun. And so, I joke around a lot. That's what that was, I'm sure. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for, Ben is like he's like the teacher who can slap me once in a while, but you guys don't always see it, but it happens. So
A digital
let's see.
hand, though, right?
Really enjoyed everybody's stories on Christmas. It was awesome to hear everybody bring good and exciting stories, stuff that was positive for all of us, because we all need that, right? We go through different things that we go through, and it's really nice to have some positive, especially this time of the year when, things get a little colder and Christmas and everything. Sometimes it can weigh on us a little bit, frankly. And so it's really nice to have all the positive stuff that we had in the last meeting. It was really good. Real quick, some of you guys are new, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about SAO, which is Stroke Awareness Oregon. strokeawarenessoregon.org. You can go to that and check it out. We have 4 pillars really that we talk about in our mission. Collaboration is one, where we talk with hospitals, physical therapists. The second is awareness. We talk about FAST, of course. We do a lot of campaigning on that, and making it a household safety word. Recovery is the next thing. That's what we're doing here. We have 2 stroke survivor meetings a month. We have the men's club meeting, which Ralph is doing for us right now. Thank you, Ralph. We do, and that's the 3rd Wednesday of every month, and that is more of an in-person one because of the way it is. Anyway, I won't go into that, but then we have a younger stroke survivors every third Thursday, and Alicia runs that meeting. I don't see her on here right now, but she runs that meeting, and I think that's every 3rd Thursday at 6 p.m. Is that right, Ben?
She switched over to every 3rd Monday based off her work schedule.
Okay, every 3rd Monday at 6 p.m. And then we have the caregivers meeting, which Molly is going to be kicking off for us. And we'll get into that in just a minute. And then the final thing is education. So CARE is collaboration, awareness, recovery, education. And, our goal really is to educate families and all the people out there about stroke and what's going on. And so that's really a lot about what SAO is. We're constantly growing. We're constantly updating things. We got so much stuff going on. But I'm going to give the mic to Ralph for just a second, because Ralph and Jim are kicking off. Well, Ralph, why don't you take it away, buddy?
Well, I'm going to start with the time is drawing near. The time to catch the wave. Wave is warriors achieving victories every day. We're going to motivate, educate, and support stroke survivors and caregivers and families as best we can. You're all invited to make suggestions, provide content, become guests for interviews. We are going to start going on the air, hopefully by March 1st, no later than May 1st. We will be an internet cloud-based radio station acting as a funnel for all the information that we can possibly get together to provide to everybody at one point or another, and educate and motivate everybody to recover and achieve those victories whenever they can. Right from getting up in the morning to being able to walk, participate, do whatever. We're going to try and not, wait a minute, Marcia, you corrected me today. We will provide education, support, and motivation for all of you to make a opportunity for everyone to recover, everyone to learn about prevention, and everyone to learn about any other brain injuries, Parkinson's disease, and other things that we can handle as we go on. It's going to start with pre-recorded, but we're going to go to as much live as we can, hopefully by May or April. So if you're willing to participate, you have podcasts, you have information, websites, whatever, please give me a call, please give me an email, whatever you want. I will be happy to talk to you. I'll take time out and tell you what we're doing. Jim will be happy to listen to you as well, although you may get some content back from him you don't want. But
I don't know what the heck he's talking about.
I don't know. We'll ask Keith that question.
Hey, Ben, could you please put Ralph's email in the message line so that people have that available if they need it?
Yeah, and my phone number too. You can call me anytime.
Thank you, Ralph. That's awesome. Yeah, it's an exciting thing that Ralph and Jim are kicking off and going to help people. And I'm excited to see what happens, Ralph. I'm very excited about it. So, yeah, Ralph is one of those guys that has had huge growth in the last 60 days. He doesn't talk much about it unless asked, but he is doing so much better. And Ralph, we may come back to that, but I got to stay on target here a little bit, buddy. But he's doing fantastic. So we love you, care about you, and we're happy for you, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so one of our key meetings that we have from SAO is the caregivers group. And in the past, we've had a caregivers organization that was running fine, and Debbie can talk about it as well. She knows. She went to a lot of those, but then it kind of, just I guess Debbie, for lack of a better term, kind of fizzled out a little bit because of participation. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, it was real hard for the caregivers to get away, have that time.
Yeah. So Molly was introduced to me through Lane, and Molly is a young stroke survivor, actually. And I've got a huge list of what she wanted me to say, but I'm not going to do it. Actually, Molly, I appreciate you so much. And I kind of wanted to go from the heart, really, as I said this, because you and I had a few meetings. We don't know each other very well, but well enough because we sat down and we talked. And Molly has this way about her that I love because she's really willing to listen. She listens very well. And then she's not afraid to say what's on her mind and what's coming. And to me, that represents leadership right there. And I just wanted to say from my heart that I really noticed that, Molly, and I think you'll do a fantastic job in leading the caregivers group. And so she has a lot of degrees, and she's a professional. Over the last 20 years, I'll say a couple of these. She's envisioned, organized, and facilitated over 200 retreats throughout the world. Molly, undo your voice thing and tell us what is your website?
Invitinggrowth.org.
Yeah. Anyways, she likes to speak to groups that aren't too huge, but we're very excited about having her on here. So I'm going to give her the mic for a little bit here and let her say what's on her mind.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to be here. Lene and I actually just ran into each other a few months ago, and I had no idea that a group like this met. I had my stroke 18 years ago, and I really could have used a community like this. So thank you for inviting me to be with you. I've watched a couple of your meetings, of your recordings, and I'm very inspired by all of you. And Ralph, I love your inspirational talk and how you guys are going to gather together. I was asked to share my story a little bit. And so I want to first start by you thinking about your story. So I think we've all played red light, green light when we were little. And red light, in this case, signifies something that halted, that stopped when the stroke happened. So right now we have stroke warriors and we have caregivers. All of our lives were halted in some way. So think in your mind a phrase or a word that represents something that stopped. And then green light, something that started. I like to think of the inspirational things that began after, because a lot of times we tend to focus on what's heavy and hard for us. And yes, we've got a lot of heavy and hard, but I challenge you to think of the things that may have started that wouldn't have started if you didn't have this experience. And then the third one is the yellow light. We don't see the yellow lights very often because they're just seamless. We can drive right through them. So I'm going to start with my yellow light, which is something that happened. it's someone I am, and I was before the stroke, and I continue to be after the stroke. So here's a little bit of my story. Jim and Steve spoke about occupational therapy and driving last week. And so that called to mind the red light and green light in my head. So thanks for that. So as we've all experienced sometimes going through life just fine and dandy, we get the red light, and it's not always welcome. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey. I was born here in Oregon into a vibrant community, into a large family. And sometimes we would spend time in the summer up at Mount Angel Abbey, which is a Benedictine monastery here in Oregon. All the monks there live together in community. They're called to live and work, to create community, to lift everyone up together as a whole. So fast forward, I went to Santa Clara University. Had a lot of fun. I began marathon running there. Thank you for your story, Ralph. I listened about your running last week, so I'm really excited for you. I engaged in the Santa Clara Community Action Program there, and I was excited to volunteer abroad. And then red light. After a nice sunny day of margaritas, I woke up in the hospital, paralyzed, with a group of white coats around me that I now think of as my angel, my army of angels. Last week, I think John talked about the team of experts. We know that there's a huge team around us, seen and unseen. My caregivers, still to this day, I'm grateful and thankful for them and inspired by them. At one point, a nurse asked me to lift my left leg, and I scooped it up with my right leg, and it went like this. And then everyone laughed a little bit, and then they realized it was a stroke. I was so young that they didn't think that it was a stroke, and they were trying to figure out what had happened. And at that moment, my understanding changed. My understanding of my situation there, but also life itself. It wasn't a dream, but it was life after my stroke. And of the months that followed, I have surprising little memory. I'm not sure if it's the same for you guys. Sometimes our minds are defensive for us. I remember frustration though. I remember frustration and confusion and disappointment. I remember acceptance. I remember support and love and laughter. I love that you guys were sharing laughter at the beginning here. I think that that's a true sign of community. During my first shower alone, my mom propped my arm against the wall, and then she left. And I was like, what are you doing? She had been showering with me for months. And so she said, you do it. And I was there, and all of a sudden my hand slipped and fell, and I lost my first opportunity to wash my hair alone. I'm sure many of you had these experiences. I remember finally getting all the paper clips into the paperclip box, and I was like, yeah, that took so much strength, and my whole body was working to get the paper clips in. And then the occupational therapist said, try again. Ugh. Anyways, moving on, I remember my tears as I laid in bed next to my sleeping mom. I remember that I didn't want to burden anybody. I didn't want to make anyone sad. But this was my new reality, and I lost control. I wondered then and ponder now, do I ever really have control? What is reality? When I was a kid, there was a quote that hung on my wall that said, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And I deeply believe that in our lives, there's much more at work than we realize. Instead of returning to Oregon after college, I stayed in San Francisco with my team of doctors at UCSF. And then green light, after a bit, I started grad school and working at a monastery. Yellow light, something that happened before and continued on. For 16 years in those rolling green hills, I lived, loved, and learned in community. a community that vows to use its strengths to serve a world in need of their gifts. I believe that each of us has unique gifts. I believe that each of us has distinct strengths and talents and a distinct role in raising the entire community. I believe that we're all inspirations. And I'm thankful for Ralph for saying that we're going to celebrate those inspirations. Saint Benedict said that Saint Benedict said that life is a school in the Lord's service. I now see life as a place where our souls learn to live and love.
From here.
Benedictines emphasize
Right
that it is
here.
my responsibility
Yeah.
to become my best possible self, and so that I may serve others. I believe that we are all a part of something greater.
Yes.
Though I learned to live with my effects of stroke, I chose not to talk much about them. I was blessed that at that point in life, I was able to hide it from others. I knew it every day. I was aware of it, but I chose not to talk about it. As a result, I willed that it not be a part of my central story. I often scurried up to the top of a hill overlooking our campus at the monastery. I sat on a bench there, and my heart was always pounding when I arrived. Finally, my breath would settle, and then red light, stop. I was able to gaze down at the miniature version of my home, of my work. And then I panned out to the backdrop, to the bigger hills in the distance. These moments of stillness gave me peace, they gave me perspective, and quite often inspiration. Sometimes red lights do this. Saint Benedict suggests, listen with the ear of your heart. There are many ways the Spirit shows up in my world and nudges me towards openings and toward my illuminated path. I believe that the Spirit moves in us. Each of us moves through us when we courageously offered our inspired selves to the world. And it moves each of us and all of us forward. It's our responsibility to listen and to see our yellow lights, those through lines, those unique repetitive themes that cultivate courage to step into our inspired selves. Whether we're a stroke warrior, a caregiver, a family member, a friend of a stroke warrior, we each have an army of angels that is specifically there for us, to accompany us in our moments of frustration, confusion, disappointment, and joyfully offer acceptance, support, love, and sometimes even laughter. After my red light, my stroke, I responded with, none of this makes sense. And in some of my inspired moments, I come to, all of this makes sense. My life changed forever. I will always teeter between the two views of sense making. But the longer I live and love and breathe and trust, I realize I'm never fully in control. The brighter my yellow brick road illuminates, and the easier it becomes to walk toward my inspired self. So when I moved to Bend, I decided to continue my professional work here for locals. I created Inviting Growth, a space for individuals and groups to cultivate space to be and to become their inspired selves. In addition to accompanying individuals through life's challenges and decisions, I run retreats in small groups. And soon after launching this passion work, Lene waltzed into my life. And a significant yellow light turned green, inviting me to grow in a direction I chose to bury earlier on. And here I am weaving the tapestry of life I've been given. Green light, as Matthew McConaughey says. Have any of you read that? It's a good one. My 20 years of retreat organization and facilitation have led me to you. You have been led to you. You have been led to each other. You each have a very unique story. We each have an army of angels. We have yellow, red, and green lights. We each have passions, gifts, talents, strengths, weaknesses. We are each called to be ourselves. We're each called to become our inspired selves. We are here to serve a world in need of our unique gifts. We're more than supportive. We are inspirational. I'm thankful that Lene and Keith have asked me to facilitate the caregiver group because each person cultivates a unique relationship with stroke in the wake that follows. I love the term that Ralph used. What is it? WAVE, warriors achieving victories every day. The wake that follows is more than just us as stroke warriors. It's our whole community. So each person cultivates a unique relationship with stroke and the wake that follows, and no two journeys are the same, yet together we invite growth. So caregivers, we'll treat our time together as mini retreats that offer environments spiced with spiritual, philosophical wisdom, engaging exercises, individual reflection, and communal conversation. To give you an example, I offered the red light, yellow light, green light activity. And now is our moment to share your word or phrase representing each. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. That was awesome. Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
good, Molly.
Hey, Molly, we're going to need you to host a show on the internet radio station called Red Light, Green Light.
I love it, Ralph.
That's
That-
awesome.
That
So,
was Jim.
yeah,
Oh, it's a Jim.
that was Jim.
Great.
Molly, thank you so much. That was awesome. Really appreciate it. I'll tell you guys, it was a little presentation there, but Molly is very deep person and she really gets it and she listens like a queen, and it's going to be a fantastic group that we're going to grow, and we're going to grow it nationally. We're going to grow it big because it's needed. The caregiver support out there is really not that much, in my opinion, and I've looked. And so it's going to be great to have you, Molly. That was a fantastic thing. Have you thought, Molly, about times or any of that yet?
Yeah, I looked through my schedule. It looks like the first Wednesday of each month would work. That's the hope. It sounds like it's hard to get time away, so we might have to figure out what works for some people. My grandpa had a stroke and my mom was his caregiver, and this is pre-Zoom, so they would walk in together, and the stroke warriors and the caregivers would have time together, and then they would go off into their own sessions and then back. But
Yeah.
Zoom has presented something a little different.
Well, and we didn't think that would work very well, frankly, because a lot of us, like, you look at Arnie and Debbie, they have, one camera going, right? And so on and so forth. And that's a lot the same. Bill and Debbie and, Robin there. And I mean, so we thought, we think it would work better if we do a separate time. And the other thing about that is it's really kind of nice because sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need your own space away. You need your own time and be able to say what's on. I mean, yeah, Debbie's sitting there shaking her head. She wants to say a bunch of stuff about
She was
Arnie.
very quick to nod her head yes, Keith.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm kind of in one of those moods today, but anyway,
Hey,
and
Keith.
I think that's important. Go ahead, Arnie.
One other thing, I think we should change the name from caregiver to punching bag sometimes.
Yeah, those poor spouses, they get it. I'll tell you. Well, not just spouses, just caregivers in general.
And they keep coming back for more.
I think that's called love. I'm not sure.
That's the only thing it can be.
Yeah. A couple of things I wanted to open this up because I want everybody to have the opportunity to ask Molly any questions that you have. I was taking fearless notes as we were going through that. Who here has any questions that they want to share or ask Molly? Jim, Jim Patterson has a question. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I wanted to just thank Molly for giving me a way to put some perspective to what's going on in my life right now with the red light, green light exercise. Because I can tell you the red light, one of the big red lights for me was the end to a 6-figure income as a financial services executive. That was a big red light.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened during that period while I was waiting for the light to turn green, the yellow light was quiet contemplation, overabundance of love from people who've cared for me.
Mm.
And the green light was my Lord and Savior revealing to me my purpose for the future, which does not include a 6-figure income.
Yeah.
But it includes something that is priceless in the eyes of our Lord, and that is serving others and helping other people. And that's been my red light, green light with that yellow light of contemplation and seeking to hear that still quiet voice directing me towards what my future is going to be. Molly, thank you for putting it in those terms so that my stroke brain had an opportunity to process what the heck's happened to me since the red light.
Thank you, Jim. Molly, did you want to comment?
I'm in awe. Thank you, Jim. Yeah. You are a huge inspiration. I mean, I'm speechless. I want to hear more.
Jim, good point, Jim. And one of the things that as you were talking, I was sitting here thinking about is that, we all go through ins and outs, right? I mean, but so is it for everyone, right? Just because we're a stroke survivor doesn't mean that, our neighbor isn't having some sort of thing happening, but we have to, look forward and we have to keep moving forward. And I'm reading this book about, they talk about suicide and stuff right now. And gosh, it's so important to keep that burning, well, not even burning, just that desire in front of us. And, this meeting is a perfect example of seeing all of your faces. Are you kidding me? When we went through COVID, I almost cussed, but what a show that was. And
Okay, Keith, shit show.
Okay, that's right. And because of COVID, here we all are. And I love you guys. I can't even tell you how much this means. So anyway, sorry, Molly, I went down a road there.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, I think that it's so important for us to be able to share that and to hear and to move and to inspire.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anybody? Arnie, Debbie?
Yep.
Huffleman?
I'm just curious, Molly, what would you say are still your biggest lingering effects from the stroke? Like, do you still have physical effects? Do you still have memory issues? I'm just curious, like, what's the biggest obstacle still in dealing with life?
Yeah, for me, it's physical. It's my left hand. and the coordination between my two sides. But yeah. Thank you.
Now, thank you. Marcia, go ahead. Go ahead. Did you have something to say, Marcia? Oh, I almost jumped in there and I will, I guess. You know, I appreciate hearing that, Molly. For me personally, it's been mental. Okay. From get-go, it's been mental. I think, you know, a lot of us go through different stuff. The physical is a huge, huge component. You know, I'm sitting here looking at Lane, and I know a lot of her story, and she's had to deal with both of those issues, frankly. But she still swings, you know, she's still swinging. I look at most of you that are sitting here in this room, Kim O'Kelly, oh my word, lots of stuff, but her mental side is up here. I mean, she's always got a great mental attitude. And so anyway, I just, that was a great question, Debbie. And who's next? Anybody? I can't see. Paige?
Yes, we have Robin and Paige here. So Robin has a question for Molly.
Okay.
It's kind of a personal question. I hope you don't mind, but you see, I'm a graduate student myself currently, and I was just curious what your graduate field, what field you were in for graduate school, because it seems like you are very, very well steeped in philosophy and, you know, kind of philosophy of religion and so on. And it's very, very interesting to me because I was a philosophy major as an undergraduate.
I love that. I work a lot in philosophy and psychology and theology. My undergrad were in psychology and religious studies. So we worked a lot with philosophy and spiritual traditions. And then grad is educational leadership. So running the school setting, it's not as fun. Actually, it's a lot of fun.
Well, you seem to be putting all of all of those skills into good practice in this sphere of stroke awareness activism, which is new to me. I mean, I'm a stroke survivor recently.
Robin, where do you live?
San Francisco.
Oh, Robin, I bet we have some crossover in our community.
Oh, Paige and I are I'm at the UCS Medical Center.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. Paige is a
OT.
occupational therapist here.
Yeah.
She's been working with me and introduced me to you all.
Huh.
And I've seen a few meetings on YouTube, and I think you guys are a really cool group of people, and it's actually helped me a lot to see what I could do with this kind of disability which I've recently acquired, which you know, a range of disabilities that it's not just, you know, left side paralysis and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
That sort of simplistic thing.
Let me comment for a second. Paige, thank you so much for coming on here. I'll have to see your face before long, just so you guys know. But Robin, all of us have our own time frame. Okay. Whether you talk to Steve, who's sitting in the middle here, he was a drummer for huge name bands. Okay. Huge. And he had a stroke, and now he's got his own band and he sings. He can't drum anymore, but he sings. You know, I could do that for every person sitting here. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that you are getting the encouragement that you need, because it can be weeks, it can be months, it can be years, my friend. And what I want you to do is I want to make sure that you work, and you work hard, continue to work, but don't give up, because it can take longer. I wish my other friend was on here right now. He comes on all the time too, because he's had to work and work and work. And sometimes he doesn't see those growth. I want to encourage you also, Robin, to journal or get a piece of paper, do something, whether it's on your phone, I don't care what you do, but find a way to make sure that you are making a mark of here's where I was, 6 months ago, and here's where I am today. It's very important. It's crucial for you to do that so that you are encouraged and you continue to swing at that ball and hit home runs, buddy. We appreciate you so much.
I think that's a great idea, Keith. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kim O'Kelly.
Paige, thank you so very much. You were just so heartfelt, so filled with love, and you hit every place: spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. And that's what we are. And I've had many halts in my life, and many yellow lights and many green. And I would say that my halt would have been stroke this time. And I mean, it just stopped me in my tracks. It changed. I lost my whole left side. And the work, by the way, to the young man that just spoke, it takes what it takes. But we're all miracles. And you said it, we're all inspirational. We all have something to give. And my green light was just if this was going to happen to me, I was going to help somebody else. And that's it. I don't wake up every morning. Everybody knows me. And I do not give to my disability. I don't even think of myself as I'm disabled. I am abled. I do everything I can to be who I know I am and be more and keep challenging myself. Who do I want to be when I grow up? I have so many things, and I mean, all of us need to ask ourselves that. Where we are right now is perfect. We're right where we're supposed to be. And you're right, we have so much. What you say, I love you called about angels, here's my kitty. And, we are always having help, but we have to look for it. We have to say, just see our gain. Every time we stay in our loss, that brings us down. And so you were beautiful. And I'm just so proud of you.
Kim O'Kelly, I want to just say a couple of things. Kim is dialed in. I'll tell you a couple of things. Now, Kim has gotten after me a couple of times because when she says, who do I want to be when I grow up? She doesn't like hearing, I can't, gosh darn it, Kim, I apologize. I can't remember what it was, but it's like now I'm there. I'm there now. And I just love that. And one of the things I was going to ask about, and I'm not making a whole lot of sense, I apologize. Molly, one of the things that when her and I were talking, I was thinking to myself, is it because she's younger? Is it because of her attitude, because she's so much younger? And then I think about Kim O'Kelly, who has that younger spirit and knows that she's going to get better and live her life, where sometimes I feel like some of us older stroke survivors, we kind of give up a little bit because of our age. And what Kim has told me before is that's bull. And Molly, I love seeing what, because you're on fire for life. And I just love that. And I think everybody should be thinking about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do we have to offer? You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Bev.
Hey, Molly, I got a question for you. Go ahead, Bev.
I was just gonna comment that when we look at our disabilities, rather than looking at them as disabilities, we look at them as being differently abled. I'm differently abled than I was before, but I'm still able to do whatever it is and it might look differently now, but I still do it. And that's important to note. I mean, yeah, it might take longer, it might take a different route, but you still do it. And that's important. Yeah, no matter what, you don't give up.
Love
I'm
it.
chapter 4, which is never a quitter in the book.
Yeah. Love it.
Beverly, I love that you said differently abled, because that's one thing that the Benedictines talk about, is that everyone has unique strengths and talents and weaknesses, and we all meet each other and lift each other up in different ways. And we think about leadership, you know, a lot of times we think about leaders as like the gregarious people, but a lot of times people actually follow or listen to the people that are quiet and observe what's going on, and they have all this wisdom to share, and they're quiet leaders, but they have huge waves of change. And I think that each and every one of us somehow has an ability in a different way to motivate and inspire and change, and it's about finding that and believing in that, because we all need it. And there's different types of people that are moved by different personalities and experiences.
Right.
I'm a former pastor, so it's a retired pastor, so yeah, that's why.
Who just spoke recently? How did that go?
Actually, it's coming up in March.
Oh, okay.
I
Sorry,
give
Bev.
a presentation. I have to write the paper first.
Okay.
I
Arnie.
do academic things, so.
Sorry. Arnie, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Molly, well, since you were going to graduate school and everything after your stroke, how long did it take you for kind of to get your brain wrapped around, some of the like sequencing on how to do things? I mean, I'm coming on 3 years, and I really struggle with that still.
What do you mean by sequencing?
Well, for instance, like I was this morning, I had to get up and take my trailer we have ATVs that we ride around our farm. And, there's a certain sequence of hooking up a trailer to a pickup truck, and then hooking up the lights and testing the lights. And there's times where, I'll just forget some steps that are used to be just common sense.
Yeah. I would say probably 3 to 4 months only, but it was I was only 21 when I had the stroke. And so they say that it was the that my brain was able to reformat. Really.
Right. Okay.
I ended up moving in with my sister, and my mom helped me most of the time. Taking me places. Yeah.
I do want to make a comment here. And I know you guys all get tired of it, but you were you were 21. And that's true. However, all of us have the ability, and our brains have the ability to reconnect, but we have to believe it. We have to know that that is doable. Look at Marcia, who's sitting here right here. She went through quite a stroke, and she decided that she was going to change, and she did. Do you want to talk about that, Marcia, for a second?
Yeah, so I had aphasia, which is in my case, the inability to talk, and I also couldn't write. And when you look at the National Aphasia Association's website, it says that if you have aphasia more than 3 months, you probably have it for life. And I didn't like hearing that. So I kept looking for solutions. And at 3.5 years, I found one. And it's called IASIS microcurrent neurofeedback. And after 16 sessions, I can talk like I do today.
Yeah. And the point that I'm trying to make, and thank you, Marcia, is that, none of us can give up on ourselves, and And it's not going to be our spouse, unfortunately. It's not going to be your brother, your sister. It's here. You have to decide for yourself that I'm going to keep going. And Arnie, whether you can't hook that thing up right now or whatever, know that you are getting there. You're making progress every day, and it's just a matter of time, my friend.
You know, Keith, I wonder sometimes if we just don't use our stroke as a crutch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great point. Matter of fact, I love that. And I am going to.
Well, the fact is Arnie does have sense. It's now uncommon sense.
Thanks, Jim.
I think we all have uncommon sense now.
Yeah.
I also
Thanks.
wanted to add something. Arnie, that was like a great question because it shows that you at least have that insight and you're making self-reflection, and that can help modify your behavior in the future.
Yeah, I
if you
try to do that a
haven't
lot,
looked in-
Molly.
If you haven't looked into mindfulness training, there's a lot of mindfulness training on YouTube, lots of different programs I would suggest, whether it's just chair yoga, breathing, meditation helps to improve like your awareness and your intentions. So to be more intentional with different sequencing and meeting your goals, and it can apply to so many different aspects. So I love mindfulness, and
Yes.
if you want to reach out with questions on mindfulness training, I'm very passionate about it.
Well,
I can
Paige,
give you my information.
you just put yourself into you're going to be on our show, so
Yeah.
we're going to have you speak pretty soon.
I would love to. Yeah, definitely. Linnea already told me, so I would love to be part of that.
Yeah, and that's a perfect. I didn't know that, I don't think, but at any rate, we're going to make sure that you are, because those are huge. Those are huge aspects of all of this, and we got to keep going. Lonnie.
I wanted to add that Kim does a lot with mindfulness and has really led our group many times in mindfulness training.
Yes.
So maybe we could even relook at that, Keith.
Absolutely.
Sorry, my voice is so bad.
No, you're fine. And absolutely, Kim.
Well, you know, it would be good, if I may say, if Paige and I'll tell you, because she does mindfulness and I think of it as meditation. And so, you know, and I think they are very similar.
Mhm.
And I think that it would be really great for us to talk about the similarities and possibly the differences. I would give a meditation class, a mindfulness class once a week if I could get a group. I did try to do that before, and I have always been very, you know, I'm 35-year meditator daily.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to have to start wrapping up in a minute. Is there any other quick questions? Michelle, did you have a question, or are you just waving to me?
I'm just waving at the boys.
Okay. Real quick, Lane, you're muted. You're muted. Lane, you're muted.
So sorry, Keith. Did we get all the new people introduced?
Well, no, I've gotten through a lot. Paige and you and Robin, I didn't get a chance to introduce you guys. Why don't you make a quick introduction?
My name is Robin Chang. I'm a doctoral student in political science at York University in Toronto, although I live in San Francisco with my mother. She lives in San Francisco. I was born and raised here. And I'm currently in the UCSF Medical Center recovering from two brain aneurysms, which I had in September 19th, and has left me with left side neglect, vision neglect. So I have vision problems, and I have headaches from that. And it's also caused me to not be able to read as well, and to do stuff on the computer with the kind of speed as I used to.
But I would ask for a quick round of applause as Robin took his first steps with a walker this week. So we were very excited.
All right.
That
Okay.
is awesome. Great. Well, there you go.
It was, yeah, it
That shows
was,
the growth, right?
Achieving victory.
Yeah, very good. I'm gonna keep going just because of time. Robin Chang. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Oh, that was Robin. Robin just spoke here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
I see.
Yeah. We're together. We're using my audio and his video. A little confusing.
Okay, well, you got me on that one. I give you that.
That's all right. And then me, I'm Paige. I spoke earlier. I'm an occupational therapist at UCSF. So I am always sharing your YouTube videos and resources with my patients and families, and love everything that you guys do. So thank you to Lene for introducing me to the group, and fully support this 100%. So thank you, you guys, for all your hard work.
Thank you so much. Evan, I'm gonna have to put you on the speaker there, buddy.
Okay, my turn. Am I going?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. My name is Evan. I had my stroke back in October of 2019, and it seems like there's a building group of UCSF alumni here. I am one myself. I was in Monterey at the time in my master's degree when I had the stroke. A couple hospitals happened, but eventually I wound up at UCSF for ultimately the craniectomy and then the shunt placement. I too have a pretty severe left side neglect, so much that I can't drive anymore. But I've made it thus far, and have, since it's been about 3 years now. So still going. Really happy that there's a group like this out there, though, with so much solidarity behind it too. My wife, Asia, has helped me through every inch of it. And I'm very lucky to have all the support that I've had up to this point, but also very glad to meet the group. This sounds like a really cool group. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on. Asia, did you want to say anything?
Just thank you for inviting us, and this was fantastic to listen in on. You guys are awesome, and everything had really sunk in. So
Thank you. Appreciate it so much. I'm gonna wrap things up, but the Aspens. Who is the Aspens?
Nope.
Okay, well, we'll find out, and we'll, if you guys want to email or something, we'd appreciate it. We are so thankful for that you're on here. Listen, I want to take just 5 minutes or 2 minutes real quick. A couple of things that are coming up. Mike Studer, some of you know who Mike Studer is. He's a well-known therapist, by the way. And he's doing an exclusive presentation for SAO. It's about expanding your health span after stroke. I think that, listen, can a show of hands, does everybody get our email that comes out? Okay. If you don't, please email there. There's a link on there. Ben, can we copy those links when we send out the recording, please?
Yeah, attach it to the bottom. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so that's a huge importance. Also, I was asked to share this. There's a company here in Central Oregon called Destination Rehab. They're doing equipment demo day for anybody that's in the area. You guys can go to that, and it is January 30th at 11 o'clock. They're doing
Where is that, Keith?
I'm sorry to say, Kim, I don't remember, but I'll get that link as well to Ben, and we'll put it on the recording. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And then, first of all, let me just say this, Molly, you, my friend, were fantastic. We appreciate you so much. You did a great job, and you're going to do a fantastic job of running the caregiver meetings. We so appreciate you, and I wanted to make sure we said that. We will get the dates. We'll make sure everybody knows about it, and we'll give you a good heads up. We really want to build that. I think Molly's going to do a fantastic job of growing that and helping the caregivers out there that need the help. So last thing, real quick. Are there any stroke anniversaries? And we call that anybody in the month of January who had their stroke in January. Michelle, I didn't know that.
January 20th.
Okay.
Yay!
Well, happy
10
stroke
years.
anniversary.
A decade.
Wow, a decade. Well, you're doing awesome. You're doing awesome, young lady. I appreciate you so much and all this stuff. You guys should look her up. Stroke Mom. She does so much stuff. Anybody else? No? I just want to come at you guys for a quick second from my heart. You're all awesome. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. I think you know that. We're having Dr. Bryce Applebaum come on the 24th too to speak mostly about eye power. He wrote this book. And so I think that'll be a good presentation. Appreciate all you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye,
you for
everyone.
including the caregivers. Appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you.
Y'all take care.
you.
Bye.
Great meeting.
Thank you.